term, or if you ever heard the word, or if you ever heard the name Rockefeller, he's the reason why you heard Rockefeller. Rockefeller is is one of the richest families in the world. It's like Rothschild and Rockefeller. These families are like incredibly wealthy. And they just have these long lineages of wealth and money and prosperity. And the reason why they got it is because this dude, dumb people. Yeah, is the dumb people? What is that? But yeah, it's this crazy amount of money that these people got. And it all started by this guy, John D. Rockefeller. This dude, he started Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is the reason why oil companies are like billion-dollar companies and all this shit. Like him in the 1800s, like in the late 1800s, early 1900s, he got into the 1% that control the world exactly. He got into the oil game and he started like, Myra, what up? He got into the oil game and he started like just making his money in that. And he started finding ways to innovate it. For example, most of the oil refineries at that time, they would dig up the oil and they would throw 40% of it away because 40% of it couldn't be converted. But what he ended up doing was taking that 40% and using that 40% that other refineries were throwing away and finding a way to power his refinery like that. So that nigga, his profits went through the roof. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Myra? Lloyd DeLibra was good. Yeah, he found a way to go through the roof by like just being smart enough to see and pick up on the things that other people are missing. And that's the art of like being resourceful. Saying like, damn, everybody's in this game, but not everybody's optimizing this game. You know what I'm saying? Like there's better ways to do. For example, like niggas do this shit every day and we miss it. You know what I'm saying? Lloyd DeLibra, what up? Appreciate you, Lloyd. Thank you for that. Yeah, we miss it and fuck up the environment. Yeah, that oil shit is terrible. But like he became a billionaire doing that. He became the richest American. So I started looking him up. I'm like, you know what, bro? I heard Jim Rohn say the other day, he's like, in your library, you need to have a book on Gandhi and you need to have a book on Hitler. You need to have a book on both of them because you can learn from both of those men. Whether you agree with one or disagree with the other, you can learn from both of them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, let me look up the richest man that America has ever had, John D. Rockefeller. They estimated his net worth, like if he had the money that he had back then, if you translate it into American money, it's like between 300 and $600 billion. So like that bread is worth more than what Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett have today. Like that nigga was ridiculously rich. It's important to study them. Like how the fuck did they do it exactly? So in me studying him, I'm seeing that first off, he was a devout Christian. Secondly, his daddy was a con artist. His daddy went off, had a secret family, had a secret wife, and he was a snake oil salesman. Like he would travel the streets selling concoctions that didn't really work. And then he would come back home and like do dirt to the family. Like his daddy had a quote. His daddy said, I cheat my boys every chance I get. And it's like he cheats his sons every chance he get because he wanted to make them sharp. He wanted to make them smart. He wanted to make them sure like every trick I got in the book, I'm gonna pull it on my kids so that they could see what this shit looked like. So he raised kids that was real resilient because he kept fucking with them throughout their whole childhood. And John D. Rockefeller, I think he got his first job on like January the 25th or some shit like that. And he celebrates, or September 25th, and he celebrates it like his birthday. He calls it job day. The day he got his first job, he celebrates that shit better than he celebrates his birthday. He's like, man, I don't know where I would be if I didn't get this first job. This first job laid the foundation for everything that I got. So he celebrates job day. You know what I'm saying? And so the man was just a man of like tight morals when it comes to himself. And he was ruthless, bro. Like this nigga, one of his strategies, they created something. Red Rum, what up? They created, if you know anything about the government, the society, resilient or desensitized though. Yeah. He was fucked up. Like John D. Rockefeller hated his daddy. You know what I'm saying? He hated his daddy. He had his daddy buried in an anonymous grave. Like he hated his fucking daddy. He changed his, like when they buried his daddy, he had that nigga buried in a random ass place with a different name. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas had to go and find who the daddy was. They couldn't find him because John D. Rockefeller, man, fuck that nigga. You know what I'm saying? His daddy was just a player. His daddy was ruthless. But for example, like they have something in America called the Sherman Antitrust Laws, Sherman Antitrust Act, and the Antitrust Act in America just prevents monopolies. Like, let's say I get into the car business and I'm a popping ass car salesman. I start buying up other dealers. Because it is a law, it's impossible for me to buy all the dealers because it's against the law. If I attempt to corner the marketplace, then it's against the law. That means that they can come and just remove all my shit. And they created that law because of John D. Rockefeller. This nigga, at his prime, he owned 90% of all the oil in the United States of America. Meaning, like, if for any reason he didn't like you, or for any reason like he wasn't fucking with you, you're not getting oil nowhere. There's only 10%. There's only a small percent of 10% of people that can sell you some oil, and it ain't gonna be with his shit. So I think it was like Teddy Roosevelt. He got elected into office and he started going after big business and he fucked that whole shit up. He was like, look, there has to be some sort of laws in place because these companies, these entities are gonna have way too much power. So they put into place the Sherman antitrust laws, and that forced him to break up Standard Oil. Standard Oil was just the fucking godfather of that time. Exactly, the real Dr. Evil. This nigga had it all. And what he would do is fucked up. So, for example, he would go to different cities and different towns. I love that you share so much great information. You're the one. Oh, thank you, Ram. I appreciate that. Yeah, so here's something that like was standard practice for him. Let's say you a gas station, right, in Kansas City or something like that. Let's say you're doing good business there. Like you had a good intersection, you're doing good business. Rockefeller and Standard Oil would see what you got going on. If you don't want to sell to him, yeah, he'll offer you to sell to him. But if you don't want to, he's going to build a gas station right across the street from yours. Let's say you charging 85 cents for gas. He's going to charge 10 cents for gas. And everybody's going to start coming to his shop, his shop, his shop, his shop. He's going to do that for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, until you actually have to go out of business. He's going to shut you the fuck down, and then he's going to raise his price back up to 85 cents, whatever the case may be. Like, this nigga was that much of a fucking Mac. He was that much of a player. What up, Divine Oracle? What's up? He was that much. That's how he did it. He destroyed people's businesses by doing that shit. He gonna go wherever you at, wherever you doing good business. Oh, I want to buy your spot. No, I don't want to sell to you. Okay, then I'm gonna destroy your spot. He gonna build right across the street from you, and he gonna drive the prices so low you can't compete with him. He's the only one that can get oil for that much. He got so much money, so much oil, he could charge 10 cents for 6 months and run you out of business, and then bump that shit up to 80 cents, $1, $2. And that's what he did all across the country. That's why he built so many enemies. So many people hated him because everybody had to go to him for oil. So Teddy Roosevelt said, nah, fuck that. We're going to put into law the Sherman antitrust laws. And so they had to break up his company. Now, here's the fun fact about wealthy people. Wealthy people didn't get their wealth by being stupid. This nigga was smart. So when they broke up his company, like, look, Standard Oil is so powerful, we had to break it up. So they had to break that company. That company was so fucking big. They had to break it up, and they had to break it up into 34 companies. That shit, Standard Oil broke up into 34 different companies. Appreciate you, Mona Lisa. Standard Oil broke up into 34 companies, and those companies are Mobil, Exxon, BP, all these companies that you know right now, like Shell, all these different companies. That's what Standard Oil had to break up into. It had to be all these different companies. I want to say, like, at the time that they did that, his net worth was probably like 400 or 500 million. Year or two later, because all those companies had been broken up and people thought that they whooped this nigga, his net worth became like 1.2 billion. You know what I'm saying? Because he still had shares in each and every one. You could break up the entity, but you can't break up the fact, my ownership, my ownership share of that company. So because now all they did was give people options. Instead of everybody coming to Standard Oil, okay, we're going to break it up. But all you did was, if I have one McDonald's empire, you're like, oh, you got to break that shit up. I'm going to have a little Chuck E. Cheese, a little pizza shop, a little taco shop, a little this, that, the third. So now people think they got options, but they really don't. So everybody's coming to all these different shops, thinking they supporting all these different entities, thinking they supporting all these different businesses, and it's all still going into the same man's pockets. So he actually got more rich after they tried to destroy his empire, which was marvelous. It's like, that's amazing. You feel me? That's crazy, but it's also amazing. It's like, damn, bro. Like, all these different things that people and like light-headed politicians think they about to come into the game and bully big business, which I'm not opposed to it, but it's like, these niggas didn't become big business by being stupid like you, my G. I'm not going to lose all my money because you don't like seeing my logo and everything. It's like BP. After the BP oil spill, BP knew that they had a bad reputation. So what did BP do? They didn't go out of business. They bought Marathon, and they changed their whole company to Marathon. So Marathon is BP. You know what I'm saying? But they couldn't say BP because BP had that big oil spill in 2010, fucking up the environment. So they're like, I bet. Yeah, we're going to shut down operations. We're going to buy a little, we're buying a little, a smaller gas station. Okay, I'm going to buy the small gas station, and I'm going to rebrand my entire big multi-billion-dollar conglomerate to be what this small gas station was. So niggas thinking, oh, Marathon came up. Marathon didn't come up. Marathon got bought out, and they used as a figurehead to sell you the same exact oil that you were so mad at before. And it's like, man, you got to be smart like that to survive. Because if you're unwilling to do these things that these wealthy people are willing to do, then you're always going to be at the mercy of them. You don't got to be an evil person to do this shit. You got to be smart enough to fight. You got to be smart enough. You got to be tactile enough, and you got to have enough resources to fight. That's where I believe that the power comes in knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You got to know. You have to know. You got to know what it is you want. Like me personally, I never want to live my life, or rather I should say I always want to be in a position to fight for myself. I always want to be in a position to fight for my family. I want to make sure that we are never at the mercy of something or somebody that's more powerful than us when it comes to resources, a powerful network, business. Bro, look, no. This information is readily available for anybody who wants it. You feel me? John D. Rockefeller was born broke, but he died stupid wealthy. This nigga gave away $1 billion, I think, or he gave away a shit ton of money, like $500 million. He gave away some dumbass number. You feel me? And his name is still everywhere, like Rockefeller. They got a Rockefeller building in New York, the Rockefeller Center in New York. You know what I'm saying? Learning the mistakes they made and doing it right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be smart. You need to keep your morals, keep your integrity, keep your focus, keep your dignity, but do everything in your power to be able to fend for yourself in this world. I was talking to somebody on the set just now, and she was talking about how COVID, she was like, oh, COVID is a fucking scam. They just figured out that they could lock us in our house. You know what I'm saying? All across the way, they could shut the whole world down if they want to. And I was like, man, you're right. But neither you or I are in an economic position where we can fight that shit. You're not in an economic position to fight it. I'm not in an economic position to fight it. So we got to abide by the rules and the laws that they set for it. Until you got the money, until you got the power and the resources to fight back, bro, you're going to be a victim all your life. So instead of just subscribing to victimhood, man, you might as well subscribe to boss ass shit. Get power, get money, and put that shit together. You know what I'm saying? Put your family together. Right? Because your dignity and morals, then it becomes chaos. Absolutely. I got it. What up, Jason Lee? Yeah, man. You got to have that, though. You got to have the power, and you got to have the mentality. Like, for example, I was in an argument with my homie the other day. He was like, yo, we need to do this right here and get this money real quick. And it's like, all right. Or we can invest our time and the money that we do have to create a system, a functioning ecosystem to where we never have to stress about money ever again. That's going to be the real thing to change, because the dumbest people in the world feel like if they get more money, then all their problems are going to be solved. But it's like, nah, you're wrong. And you probably don't even understand what it means when somebody says, yo, more money, more problems. Like, that probably goes over your head. You're like, nah, they just don't know what to do with it. The people with the money that you claim that you want don't know what to do with it. The people who actually went and got it, you over here dreaming about it, and you think you know how to do better than the person who actually has it. That's like me dreaming about a Lamborghini and another nigga driving it. He like, man, this shit ain't nothing. I'm like, nah, you just don't know how to drive it. You ain't never been in this seat before. You damn sure don't know how to drive it. You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? Definitely need more resources to create real change. Even Walt Disney said that. You know what I'm saying? Walt Disney had a statement. He said, it's been my biggest problem all my life. Money. He says it costs a lot of money to make your dreams come true. And that's Walt Disney saying that crazy ass shit. But who you gonna believe? I'm gonna believe Walt Disney. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think that it's important for us to always remember that and keep that shit in the forefront of our mind. Like, don't ever sit there and assume that you're gonna accomplish something in life without having something for yourself. You got to be able to show up and show out in a way that's bigger than you. Just handling your rent, handling your bills, that's cool. But like, to have enough money that you can actually help other people is extraordinary. You feel me? Save up some money, do your due diligence, do your research, find a good business to get into, and pump everything you got into that shit. Yeah, you're gonna take some failures. You're gonna get some L's, of course. But the L that you get for fighting for yourself is gonna be way better than the L that you get for fighting for somebody else's shit. Because you can't walk away with that. You feel me? Nobody can. Nobody can. I would much rather fight and figure this shit out myself than allow somebody else to put me into a position where I can't even fight. You know? Like, we could sit here, we can have all this knowledge and all this wisdom. That to me is probably the most irksome shit that I know. Like, when you know somebody who's a genius, but they broke and they don't have any options, they can't help you, they can't help themselves. It's like, nigga, you got that big ass brain for no fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? That big brain and you got all them answers and all that knowledge and all that information for nothing. That don't make no sense. And I know people like that. I know people that are fucking brilliant, dog, but they don't got nothing to show for it but pain. And I'm like, man, that ain't the way I want to live, bro. That's why whenever people tell me like, yo, whenever somebody compliments me like, oh man, you smart and you this and you that, I be like, yeah, I appreciate that because I like knowing things. But when you know shit, that shit ain't nothing but useless ass facts and figures if you still gotta struggle for survival. Like, what the fuck is the point of knowing something? That shit can't help you, my G. That's why I don't be watching dumbass shit on TV. I don't watch no reality TV shows. I barely watch sports, honestly. You feel me? And I'm extremely athletic, but I barely watch sports. And I barely watch sports because that shit don't help me, bro. Like, knowing all the facts and the figures of who going to the Super Bowl, who going to the playoffs, and you know what the statistics are of this athlete or that nigga, that shit don't help me worth the shit. Like, it don't help me at all unless I'm betting on these niggas, and even that's dumb. Like, I'm gonna sit here building my fantasy team. I be seeing niggas, they pressed, they sitting there watching football like, nah, bro, this nigga gotta make that touchdown, bro. You on my fantasy team, bro. I got money on this shit. I'm like, then you dumb. You deserve to lose your fucking money. You betting on other humans that you don't even know, nigga. If you don't get your ass out of here, that don't make any sense. But you could take that same amount of money and make that shit really work for you in the real world. But we don't want to do that. You real smart and real dumb at the same time. Like, I know some people that are brilliant, yo. I'll be honest. I know some people that are really brilliant. One of the smartest men I think I ever met in my life was a homeless man. He lived outside of my building when I lived downtown. I was living downtown Miami last year. He lived outside of my building when I lived downtown. I was like, man, he blew my mind when I first met him. Me and my homeboy sitting outside the building talking, and this dude walk up. We like, oh, this nigga, he probably wants some money. He probably gonna ask us for $1, $2. So we already getting ready to either say nah or dig in our pockets and give him some bread. He didn't ask for none of that shit. This man walked up. He was like, no, I seen y'all brothers having a conversation. I just wanted to be involved. And we're like, all right, so we kept talking. Dog, literally, from the moment this man opened his mouth, the whole crew that I was with, we was tuned the fuck in. Everything he was saying was valid. This man told us on the sidewalk, he told us the entire story of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Everything from like him being interested in her, she sending him gifts, she going to visit him. Like his throne room had like, it was like glass and marble and diamond and all this crazy shit. He told us everything about King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Like, damn, this nigga's brilliant. And then he ended up telling us, he was like, yo, back in the day, in like times of like Socrates and Plato, these men had to have a meeting. A new song was going to be released in their town, and they had to congregate about it. And I'm sitting there listening to this nigga like, okay. Like, he said, but why, right? Think about it. Like, why? Why would these men, these great philosophers and thinkers and, you know, the governing bodies and the governing power of their time, why would they have to have a meeting about a song being released in their town? And they're like, yeah, nigga, why? Why? And he said, because they knew that a song has the power to change the ethics of an era. He said that because they understand that a song can change the ethics, has the power to change the ethics of an era. I was sitting there like, bro, what the fuck? And that shit shattered my brain. I was like, yo, this is probably the smartest man I've ever met in my life. He said a song has the power. They had to convene on whether they wanted to allow this song to come out in their city because they knew that a song has the power to change the ethics of an era. Lady Queen, what up? I was like, man, that's so fucking true. The first thing that came into my mind was City Girls. Real ass bitch, give a fuck about a nigga. Big Birkin bag cost 5-6 figures. And I'm like, damn, that shit changed women. That's a generation changing song. Whether you agree with it, like it, love them, hate them, whatever, don't believe it. Like, nigga, that's a generation changing song because now every city girls, city boys, you see little girls saying that shit on the thing. Like, that shit it changed every woman's mind who listened to that shit. I'm like, damn, now it's like, slay, you getting flued out. Yes, sis, yeah, da-da-da. It's all about you. And they're watching these girls like they're prophets. You feel me? And I don't got no problem with them. Like, that shit don't got nothing, you know, I don't got no problem with them. But at the same time, it just let me know, like, bro, he was right. A song does have the power to change the ethics of an era, like completely, totally, 1000%. I was like, man, that shit is valuable information. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm I'm of the persuasion right now that it's like, man, that was the single smartest man that I probably ever met in my life, maybe I'll ever meet. And at the end of the day, he's homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's living on the street. You know what I'm saying? It was a few times I came down, either brought him food or brought him a bag of clothes, but he's still brilliant. So I'm like, what is it? So I'm a firm believer that everybody who's homeless ain't homeless because of the same reason. I don't know if he's on drugs. I don't know what, but I think some people ain't doing enough and they might end up homeless. And I think this man right here, I think his problem wasn't not doing enough. I think he just did too much. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this guy, nigga, you sound extraordinarily educated and informed. To me, you probably just went too far. He probably went too far into knowledge, too far into wisdom and power and application and technology, whatever the case may be, and he lost his fucking mind. Or maybe something traumatic happened to him. I don't know. But whatever it is, you have a powerful mind, my G, because that was amazing what he said to me, and I couldn't believe that shit. I was like, bro, I never heard that in my life, but it was so valid. Did he say how he ended up there? Nah, I never asked him that. Every time I seen him, I'm like, what's up, Hussein? And we would just talk. He was just a black guy, older black guy. He sounded like he had a Philly accent, and he just, you know, he had a beard. And I was like, man, like, I really just, like, I would sit for hours and I would just listen to this man constantly. I would just listen to him and listen to him and listen to him and listen to him and listen to him consistently, because I wanted to make sure that I soaked up everything that he had to tell me. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I didn't miss any of that shit, because what he was saying was so powerful. What he was saying was so, like, amazing. But at the end of the day, he was homeless. So I'm like, man, I want to make sure that in my life, I put as much, and I'm saying all that to say this. I want to make sure that in my life, I know as much as I could possibly know. I do as much as I could possibly do. But at the end of the day, I have to understand that there's a difference between knowledge and action. There's a difference between an idea and implementation. There's a difference between feeling like you got $1 million product and actually putting out $1 million product that bring you in $1 million. And it's like, bro, I know that there's more to life than money, but yo, money makes that shit so much better. Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, said this. He said, money may not make you happy, right? Money may not make you happy, but lack of money is a passport to misery. And he said, it just is. Money is a problem to be solved. I heard him say that shit last week. Ever since I heard him say that shit, I was like, man, yep, I'll take that shit. He said, money may not make you happy, but lack of money is a passport to misery. Take that shit for what it is. And he's right. You can sit there and be the most virtuous person. And on top of that, bro, without your share of money, without enough money in this life, you really can't be as happy or as honorable as you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really can't. You can't give as much as you want. You can't show up for people in the manner that you want. You can't be a great friend, a great steward. You can't help nobody else because you could barely help yourself. You like scratching it. Like, think about it. Think of if you got like one burrito for a meal for the day, but you got a family to feed. Even your best efforts and your real virtue and your value ain't enough. It ain't enough, bro. So it's like, with all the information that I put inside my head, anytime I'm sitting and I'm giving y'all facts or figures, what I learned about John D. Rockefeller or Andrew Carnegie or Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale or Cornelius Vanderbilt or any of these brilliant people, and I call them brilliant because they're all brilliant in their own regard, some in money and business and others in philosophy. The reason why I'm able to sit and say this because I'm loading up on that shit, not because I just want to have all this garbage or not because I want to have all this useless information in my mind, but because I'm genuinely studying the processes that these men took to have everlasting wealth. The Rockefeller family is still one of the richest families in the world. You know what I'm saying? How did they do that? Off of one man. One man and his wife built all that shit. You feel me? One man. Ruthless. This nigga was fucking ruthless. He didn't give a shit. Even when you look at a photo, if you look up a photo of John D. Rockefeller, this nigga face is like, I'll burn your fucking house down and then go to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, next level shit. But at the end of the day, it's like you need to have that kind of mentality if you want to have something in this life that lasts. Because you could be as virtuous as you want. And there's so many arguments about this shit because so many of us have been trained to believe that money is the root of all evil. It's like, nigga, money's not the root of all evil because I've seen broke people kill each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. Let me see. There's so many people who are homeless for different reasons. A billionaire can go broke in one day if they don't know how to invest it. Absolutely. I didn't care about that. Honestly speaking, that's just my personal philosophy. That's what I'm learning right now. It's like, man, you could have the best intentions, yo, but if you have no means of doing that shit, like, oh my goodness, I feel so sad that this person ain't gonna have no food tonight. If you have zero food in your fucking kitchen, what are you offering there? You know what I'm saying? There's ways to become rich without hurting people. I agree. But I don't necessarily believe that what he was doing was hurting people. What he was doing, I think, from what I'm looking at it, he wanted to be the best at oil production and promotion and sales. So if I want to be the best at that shit, I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best at that. If your feelings get hurt along the way, cool, but you're still alive. You can find something else to get into. You want to know why? Because if you want to be the best, then you're going to have to duke it out with me. Why? Because I want to be the best. So we're going to figure this shit out. I want to be the best. You can be second best or third best. You know what I'm saying? But you can't be the best because I'm going to be the best. You know, it's like, I believe that you can be rich and successful without hurting people. But some people are going to hurt themselves when they see you win anyway. So it's like, how much of that shit are you really going to take into consideration? You know, oh, I want to win. I just don't want to hurt this person's feelings. But their feelings are going to get hurt regardless. So you're living underneath your potential because you don't want to hurt this person's feelings, or you don't want to hurt their finances, because both of them shits is going to get hurt in this life regardless. This nigga's pocket and his money is going to get hurt in his life regardless. His wife can handle that shit tonight. What do you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. That is interesting to me. So once you get all the power and money, then what? What's the plan after the money? Well, if we're talking about John D. Rockefeller, he built shit. This man, at the end of his life, he was giving dimes to everybody. He walked around with a pocket full of nickels and dimes. The richest man in the world at the time was walking around with nickels and dimes. He said every adult that he came across, he gave them a dime. And every child that he came across, he gave them a nickel. And he also built so many things. Spelman College in Atlanta, the black female college, he built it. Spelman is his wife, Laura Spelman Rockefeller. So all the young black girls that go to Spelman College and are turning up in Atlanta, he built that school. He was also an abolitionist, and he gave a lot of money to black causes in a time where it was unpopular. Now, why the fuck would he build when Spelman College first started, it was an all-female black school. That was it. He built that shit and named it after his wife, Spelman College. His wife was Laura Spelman Rockefeller. I don't mean to say he's a saint. You know what I'm saying? You could be the devil and still, kick a nigga a piece of candy. But at the same time, it's like, why would you do that? You're doing that at a very unfavorable time. He's doing that in the early 1900s when segregation ain't even started yet. He was alive. He was supposed to be in the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this shit to advocate for this man. I'm saying when you get all the money, that's what you do. He's made it a habit of giving consistently. You know what I'm saying? He built the Rockefeller Center. He built all these different things so people could have other things that they didn't have before. And that's what it breaks down to. You feel me? And a lot of people don't know. He's a very enigmatic figure because a lot of people don't know how to feel about him. They don't know if they like him. They don't know if they don't like him because he did a lot of good. And people also think that he did a lot of bad. For example, he had a quote where he says, "I would rather have a nation of workers than a nation of thinkers." You know what I'm saying? I didn't know they gave back. That's what you do. You got to give it back. Yeah, look it up. Look it up. His son, John D. Rockefeller Jr., is said to be like the single most, like he helped the most people when it comes to money and finance. He was like the biggest philanthropist in the world. He was giving out everything he possibly could. He wasn't going broke behind that shit, but he was making sure that everybody had. He was constantly giving. And people that worked with him was like, yo, he remembered everybody's name. He knew everything. Because the daddy, John D. Rockefeller, had value. He had like a system like, yo, if you don't have these qualities in you, and if you don't have these rules and these moral value, you were saying, I'm not saying you can't be, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not raising no like disgusting individuals. He said, there's nothing more disgusting than people who make money for money's sake alone. But man, that's cool as fuck. You can't deny that shit. That's cool as fuck. I just know he took a lot from Africa. He probably did. I don't know what he took from Africa personally, but he may have. I have no idea what he took. I haven't gotten to that part of his story. But I only use him as an example because beyond whether it's him or Cornelius Vanderbilt, I just found this out. I didn't know this shit. Cornelius Vanderbilt was one of the richest men in the country in the world at his time, but his kids fucked up all his money. So like, whereas John D. Rockefeller and Cornelius Vanderbilt was both rich at the same time, Rockefeller's family still got money. I think they bring in like $10 billion a year just on family interests alone. But then Cornelius Vanderbilt, who owned all the railroads, his family ain't got shit. They broke. Because he didn't put that into his family. He didn't put that into his people. I was watching a video earlier today talking about like a family trust. You got to bank with your family. You got to have a family trust. You got to have family obligations. You got to have rules and regulations. You have to have a core set of values that your family abides by. And it'll be funny because the people in this world that are most like sit there and be like, oh, well, I don't think that's valuable. That's not important. Are the people who don't have family values. They'll be like, oh, well, you know, family should be family. It don't need to be that serious. It don't need to be ran like a business. You'll be like, okay, cool. How happy is your family? They might be extremely happy, but like, can y'all give to anybody? Can y'all show up for any household other than yourself? Like in a bigger way than just giving sugar to your next door neighbor, you know? Can you help the way you want to help, or is it still a dream for y'all? And is everybody in your family a part of one cohesive mindset, or is it like everybody just scattered doing different shit? I know my family, everybody doing different shit. We don't have core values. We don't got not one solid belief system that we abide by. We don't go for that shit. But certain families do. Certain families have a family bank. They have a family treasury. They got in this family, you count the money, you manage the money. We got employees that work like they got a Rockefeller family like staff. There's a staff of people that are hired by the Rockefeller family just to maintain their family finances and business. You know, some people's job is to wake up and make sure that these Rockefeller family niggas is doing exactly what they got to do within the family, according to the rules set forth by the man who started this damn family. And it's like, bro, that's we all, as black people, man, we sit here all day and we talk about how we want generational wealth, but we don't understand the first principles behind that shit. The first principle behind that shit, you got to have wealth in order to have generational wealth. Anything else is a fucking wish. You feel me? 1. 2, you got to have those values and those morals so deeply ingrained in yourself that they not only naturally rub off on the people around you, but you can write that on a piece of paper. You can actually give it to your friends and your family when you pass away. Yo, this is what I believed in. Every single day of my life, this is what I believed in. This is what I went for. This is what I'm about. This is what I want to be about. This is what I stood for. This is what I represent. When you make this much money, this is what you do with it. Always give back. Always do your work. Handle your business. Never be lazy. Never be greedy. Never be selfish. Never be stingy. Handle that shit. You feel me? Generational wealth is not for the weak. It's not. It's not. And more people are going to live and die and wish that they was able to have generational wealth than actually have it, actually attain it. You know what I'm saying? It takes back-breaking work and effort and energy and thought processes. It take a lot. It's not for the weak and it's not for the lazy. Absolutely, it's not. You know what I'm saying? But you can have it. You can push yourself past your limits and you can have that shit if you really want it. If you don't want it, then don't even like make an argument about that shit. You feel me? Because it's just not for you. You know what I'm saying? Like respectfully, it's not for you. You know, and I think that that's like something that we got to take into consideration, and we never really do. You feel me? Personally, I want generational wealth. I want the kind of wealth that lasts. I want like a Disney fortune, and I want like a Rockefeller fortune. You know, some shit that my grandkids can have. I want my grandkids to go to college, and maybe the college that they go to got their fucking name on it. How awesome is that? You know what I'm saying? Carnegie Mellon University. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Carnegie's kids can go up in there and be like, that's literally my family name. Why? Because my daddy put that shit there. My daddy believed in education. He believed in helping these people get their shit together here. You know, like, even if the college don't got, I want to at least help pay for my grandkid to go to college. You feel me? Like, you have to have a system deeply ingrained into your family to make that shit work with or without you. You got to make sure that it works. You got to make sure that it goes, that it gets to where it want to get to, that it does what it needs to do. You feel me? Because if it doesn't, then you have to understand at all angles, bro, like that's your fault. It's 1000% your fault. And it ain't going to go nowhere unless you do something to change it. Unless you're going to make that shit change. Unless you're going to make the change that you need to make in order to get there. Feel me? Appreciate you, Mona Lisa. Thank you for that. Yes, Friday night. Yeah, hold up. Cause I was in a PK with this dude, comedian KM. Yeah, I was in a PK with him. I don't know what happened. PK done went off. But yeah, man. That's just what it is. We gotta have that. We gotta have these conversations, man, because they're vital and they're important. And at any point in time that we're not having these conversations, then we wasting our time. You know what I'm saying? We losing. We losing in the world we was made to win in. That don't make no sense. You know? So I don't know. This is just what like pops up into my head every chance I get. You feel me? Like I'm studying these wise men who knew all this shit 100 years ago because there's something that they was looking to get to that we still haven't got to yet. And that's what I'm looking for. You feel me? And that's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking to understand that shit. Like, what was y'all planning? What did y'all want to get to? What was the goal? What were y'all trying to bring into this life that isn't here right now? You know what I'm saying? What is it? Because whatever it is, we're living in a box they created. Benzo Fo, Romalis, what up? Yeah, we're living in a box that they created. So we might as well figure out what their intention was for this box. You know what I'm saying? Like if John D. Rockefeller said, I would much rather have a nation of workers than a nation of thinkers. You could take that shit and get mad about it and be like, oh, this motherfucker, he just want us to be workers. He don't want us to think. He don't, you know what I'm saying? He don't want to, okay, cool. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is he would much rather have niggas that put their money where their mouth is and go and get it than niggas who sit there and talk about it all day. And how many people do we know sit here and talk about it? I just explained my homie Hussein probably had the best mind I've ever come across in a person, but he couldn't even protect himself, defend himself. He can't provide for himself. He living on the streets begging for something to eat every single day. You know what I'm saying? So he probably wanted a generate. It could be all he wanted was workers to work for him, or it could be I want people who are gonna get up and get active and work and gonna put their mind towards their work and work and work and work. Work is good for you. You know what I'm saying? It could be that, or it could just be that they didn't want that. You feel me? That he just wanted something else. Mona Lisa. It could be that they didn't want that. What the hell going on here? Oh, it's not working. What's happening here? Hold up. What the fuck? What is happening? I hit it, but it said it was loading or something. All right, Mona Lisa? Maya, what up? The best Jazzy, Queen of Honey, B-Bay. I don't know what just happened. Man, this is the second time this shit done fucked up. Okay. This is the second time this shit fucked up. I was in a PK earlier, that shit kicked me out. But yeah, man, like, that's just what that shit breaks down to. Like, to me, it's really about making sure that you do all that you have to do to get where you want to go. It's not about being so virtuous that you sit there and you just like, you don't make sense to this shit. Now, this shit gotta make sense. It gotta make sense on paper. God works in graphs and figures and charts. You know what I'm saying? And you know that because he ain't never dropped a miracle out of the sky on you. No, the miracle came from a phone call that you had, or an application that you put in, or a job that you applied for, or an event that you went to. Like God works in ways, God works according to the natural laws that are set forth on this planet. If you want a miracle to happen to you, you gotta get in the natural flow of a miracle happen for you. You gotta align yourself with the natural laws because ain't no way that the shit's gonna fall out the sky on you. Like that shit is not gonna happen. No matter how much we may want it to, it just isn't gonna happen. Not like that. You know what I'm saying? Not like that. You gotta abide by the natural laws that this world is governed by. That's the only way that you can get where you wanna go. That's another reason why I got plants. I went and got plants because I'm like, I wanna figure this out. Every time I look at these plants, I get motivated because I'm like, I see what nature does. Nature says it needs a team. It takes a team of things to make a plant grow. You gotta have the seed, you gotta have the soil, you gotta have the sun, you gotta have the water, you gotta have proper ventilation. It takes a team, and it also takes time for it to grow. It also takes the right conditions. You gotta do the right things in the right order in order for it to grow. And all of those things can be applied to business. All of them can be applied to you. Everything takes time. It goes up gradually. Nothing is overnight. I never seen a plant grow overnight. I love my plant babies. Honestly, I never seen a plant just grow fast overnight. That shit ain't real. And yet we want to make money overnight. Or we want to pop overnight. We want to be an overnight success. I'm waiting for my moment. I'm waiting for my one opportunity, my shot. Like, bro, your shot has been the last 10 years of your life. That has been your shot. Are you shooting it though? You feel me? That's been your shot, but are you shooting it? You know, you could say you are, but you really might not be. And a lot of discipline. Like, yeah, it takes discipline. It takes consistency. It takes focus. One of my plants was fucking up. I didn't know what was wrong with it, so I had to repot it. I didn't even know what that was. My homeboy walked me through the process. I had to take the plant out, take all the bad weeds out, put new soil in it, and now it's doing great. But the soil was bad. I wouldn't have never known that. I'm growing avocado, so 10 years from now, I don't have to buy it. There you go, and other foods. There you go. That's the way to do that. You feel me? That's a beautiful way. That's the only way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That's just really what I think about on a regular basis. It's taking it to another level and making sure that we know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I want to impart onto my kids when they get older. I'm going to show them, like, yo, this is what nature does. If you want to be successful in this life, you have to do what nature does. Because you live in a natural world. Even if you're an unnatural spiritual creature, you have to abide by the laws of this world. You could be like, oh, I'm a spiritual being, have a physical experience. I don't need to do none of this physical shit. Okay, cool. Go 2 or 3 weeks without eating no food, no water, and see how you really about to be a fucking spirit. Because your body's gonna die. Your body's gonna die if you don't give it what it need. Your business is gonna die if you don't give it what it need. Your relationship is gonna die if you don't give it what it need. The plants around you, everything is gonna die if you don't give it what it needs. So like to sit here and think that you can get away from doing the work. No, you can't get away from doing the work. You gotta love pain. You gotta love doing the work. You gotta go hard for this shit, man. I'm relearning that in myself right now. Niggas used to like attempt to convince me I was doing things wrong because I was putting too much effort in. And I had to remind myself, like, I'm not dumb. For some reason, God got me wired to where I gotta put in a lot of fucking work. I gotta do a lot of fucking things. I gotta go hard for my shit. You feel me? I'm not blessed like some of the rest of these people out here that can wake up, have some easy situation happening for them, and they good to go. No, my destiny requires a lot of effort on my part. And that's why I can't compare myself to nobody. I can't sit there and look at Instagram and be like, damn, I should be where this nigga is, that nigga is. Nah, because I know that my life is different than yours. You feel me? Everything that I'm gonna have, you're not gonna have it. And I gotta be okay with that. That's what God has set me up for. I'm never gonna get to my destination with imposter syndrome. And the way that you avoid that shit is by putting in an unbelievable amount of work. And that way, there's no way you can have an imposter syndrome. Quincy Jones said, they asked him, like, how do you get rid of the ego? How do you not have an ego? And he was like, you got to dream so big that you can't have an ego. You feel me? You got to dream so big that you can't have an ego because you know in your heart you'll never achieve it. So you can't have an ego. I know I'll never achieve my real goal. You feel me? Especially when building generational wealth alone. Lots of sacrifice. Absolutely. If the people that you with are not helping you get to that shit, and they're costing you everything. They're costing you a position that will really help you. They're costing you everything. And you don't even know that shit. You sitting there thinking and dreaming and assuming that this shit is gonna work in your favor by surrounding yourself with negative people, not knowing that their negative personality and their negative traits is actually bringing you down. You feel me? She's Bambi, what up? Not knowing that those negative people in your life are actually bringing you down. You know what I'm saying? There's no version of this shit where a negative mind is gonna produce a positive life. This ain't fucking Looney Tunes. I hate to break it to us, bro. There's no version of this shit where a negative mind is gonna produce a positive life. Sit there and you surround yourself with negative people who say negative things and do negative things and complain and compare. Get away from them. Dog, if any of your friends do any of them two things, complain and compare and complain, get rid of them, man. Get rid of them. And if they pessimistic, I had a homeboy, he got a bad habit of saying, I doubt it. I'll be like, yo, this thing gonna happen. I doubt it. That make you feel cool, bro? Fucking doubt? And you broke and unhappy and unlucky? I gotta move this way, man. I gotta do something because this shit ain't gonna work. I dodge energy vampires. That's the only way, man. That is the only effing way, bro. It's not gonna work like that at all. So I don't know, but I just put that up there to be like, man, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. I'm not gonna be on live real long tonight, man. I'm actually probably gonna turn this off right now. And I'm gonna get some other work done. I was not really behind on anything, but because I had to go and hit the streets and do this movie scene that they had me to do, I didn't get a chance to do my piano lesson. I didn't get a chance to read. I didn't get a chance to write. And I didn't do all the other little things that I wanted to do today. And I'm about to eat again. So this has definitely been a shorter live than the ones I'm used to. I'm actually only like 30 minutes out from doing it. So I may jump back on later tonight for like maybe another 30 minutes. But I know I'm gonna jump off right now, get something to eat, handle my business. Mona Lisa, you're the best, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for tapping in and tuning in. I feel like it's really only us up in here right now. You know, it's not too many people, so I appreciate you, Mona Lisa. Your perspective is always appreciated, for real. And yeah, I'm about to get me something to eat because I'm motherfucking hungry. And I just ate too, but I'm like, I'm used to eating more than that now. So I'm gonna jump off and I may jump back on later tonight. And that's what it is. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your night, Mona Lisa. Happy Friday. I appreciate you too. All day, man. These claps right here, Mona Lisa, are for you. I'm gonna see you later, man. Maybe I'll tap back in. Maybe I'll tap back in tonight. But if not, if I don't tap back in tonight, then I'll definitely tap back in tomorrow. Oh, appreciate you, Mona Lisa. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, it's us. It's us. We up in here.